Hi everybody, it's Shenandoah Squishy Stitches back for Flosstube number 5. Yeah, I'm sticking with it. So how are you all? I'm doing pretty good today. Better than last week. I'm not ranty. Though you didn't see the ranty video because it didn't save. But that's okay, you don't need to see me rant that much. It's been a pretty good week. I had my birthday. Got a gift from my son. It was my husband's birthday, so we got him a bread box because he's a baker. He bakes like 3 loaves of bread a week at work, at home, and he also bakes for a job. He loves bread. You wouldn't believe how much goes into making bread. Wouldn't. Got my hair cut just this morning. I like it. It's basically what I had before, just a little shorter. I styled it differently today. Because, wanted to play. Yeah, it's been kind of a low-key week. Just didn't feel good for a lot of it. Happens. It's life, I guess. So I thought I would do, it's called The Chaotic Tag by MN Chaos. It's about culture, which everybody has some. Even if you don't think you do, you do. So the first question is, what is your culture or heritage? Where are your ancestors from? What foods did you grow up eating? Did you grow up with a particular set of beliefs or traditions? Well, my ancestors are from Germany, Sweden, and Potawatomi Native American tribe, but it's a Canadian tribe. So, I guess First Nations people, that's what they call them in Canada. What foods did you grow up eating? My mom was a bad cook. She can burn spaghetti black. I don't know. Don't ask me how she does it. She does it regularly. She also runs out of gas all the time. I've never run out of gas. Probably because of all the memories of a kid going to the gas station, walking for miles. We lived in the mountains of Colorado. So if you got stuck halfway up the canyon, it was a good 15-20 mile trek to the nearest gas station, uphill or down, depending on which was closer. With no sidewalk and blind corners and a walking path about this wide. It's not fun. So, and she'd run out of gas like once a week. I don't know. You'd think she would have learned. I did. I've never run out. So we grew up eating, I guess it's tuna casserole, just from what I've seen since I've been cooking on my own. It was tuna, cream of mushroom soup, and rice, and you just mix it up. She didn't put it in the oven, just mixed it in a pot. As a kid, I liked it. I can't stand it now. I tried it again, and it's like, what is this? Ew. Another thing we ate every Friday, liver and onions. No. I used to con my way into spending the night at friends' houses every Friday night because it was liver and onion night at home and I didn't want liver. It's gross. It's so gross. I'm sorry if you like it, but it's gross. And then the usual spaghetti, pork chops, although she cooked pork chops with soy sauce and Asian vegetables, and she called it Polish pork chops. I don't know. It's just what she called it. The beliefs and traditions, normal-ish ones, I guess. I mean, she thought and still thinks to this day that organized religion is the root of all evil. And as I get older, I tend to agree. A lot of what's wrong with this country is because people are trying to press their religious beliefs on everybody else. You can be religious. You can pray every day. You can pray for people. You can go to church every day. I don't care. Don't try and make me do it. That's all. Keep it to yourself. You don't have to be silent about it, but don't try and make me believe what you believe. It's just not gonna work. I won't try and make you believe what I believe either. It's a trade-off. We all live our merry little ways. This little bit in the back is irritating me. Sorry. Do you make an effort to pass on the culture you grew up with? And are you a part of any counterculture, or are you more of an individualist? We generally raise Riker with the Christian beliefs that his dad grew up with. So we celebrate Christmas, we celebrate Easter, 4th of July. We live in a place called Holland, Michigan, so Dutch culture is big, so we do try and participate a little bit with the tulip time and whatnot, because my husband's Dutch. I'm not, but that's just the way it is. It's a weird culture here in Holland. There's like the Dutch versus the non-Dutch. So the Dutch take very great pride in being Dutch and their Dutch heritage, and the non-Dutch take great pride in not being Dutch. And so I'm not going to say there's like tiffs about it, but in the past there have been. Like my grandma, who was raised with a Dutch family, was basically kicked out of the family for marrying a non-Dutch, my grandpa. It's ridiculous. But it is what it is. I'm not going to do that. Counterculture? A few. I'm not really anything, but I'm part of a few different cultures. Most of my friends fall somewhere on the LGBT area. Not all, but the ones that don't are very much an ally. I'm demisexual, which means I'm attracted to somebody's personality, not their physical body. So I've dated men, women, trans. It's personality, not body for me. If I'm attracted to your personality, I'm really attracted to your personality. But it's also part of the asexual spectrum. So, like, you could put any guy you think is hot or girl you think is hot in Hollywood and say, hey, he wants to sleep with you, and my reaction's gonna be, ew, no, But if I'm attracted to somebody's personality, I have a pretty normal reaction to being approached sexually. And that's as far as I'm gonna go into that, because that's kind of a private topic. Most people don't want to discuss that. So, we'll leave it there. I'm a geek, so I belong to geek culture. Raised my son as a geek, because I don't know how not to be a geek. I still read comic books, I still watch geek movies, I'm still very much part of fandom. I don't see that ever ending. But that's who I am, and I'm proud of it and happy. And anybody who belongs to whatever group they belong to should be proud of it and happy. Or at least try. Happiness isn't always available for people. So, yeah, a few different cultures. I tend to dress a little more punk, but that's because I was a goth in high school, so it's a familiar look to me. I can look normal-ish, but I mean, what the heck is normal anyway? I mean, I don't know. Everybody's weird. And weird is a good thing. It really is. Name one person who's been successful who wasn't weird. You can't. Not even on Flosstube. Is there any social issue, cause you are passionate about, whether it be education, health, the military, human rights, etc.? Well, LGBT things are pretty important to me. My son has autism, so that's very important to me. I really hate smoking. It's what killed my father. So I'm pretty much against that. And yeah, those are my main things. I'm a feminist. I'm a human. I think everybody deserves equal rights, and I will fight for your rights. Doesn't matter what rights we're looking at, everybody deserves equal rights. Every religion should be equal, every person should be equal, everything. Because we're all just human. Everything else is just trivial stuff. I mean, the difference between one human in Asia and a human in South America is less than the difference between a German Shepherd and a poodle, genetically. So, we're all the same. We have our own cultures, we have our own traditions, we have our own histories, but genetically we're all basically the same. Next question, do you have a favorite style or aesthetic? For example, modern vintage, fantasy, chic, shabby chic, anime, kawaii. Kawaii, sorry. I should know more Japanese. Considering my aunt and cousins are Japanese/half Japanese. Or certain decades aesthetic. It depends on what period in my life you get me. Last year I was really into retro 1950s stuff. And that's how I was styling myself. This year I'm more into punk and rock and all that. And sometimes I want to look cute. For house decorating, it's more somewhere between Victorian and Tudor. I like both. I tend to go more Tudor, which if you're into architecture, you'll understand. My house is a craftsman, which if you understand architecture, that will explain that too. For decorations on the walls, I like florals, bright colors, fantasy stuff, and just whatever catches my eye. I'm eclectic, I guess. That's the best way to describe it. Do you somehow incorporate any of your 4 answers into the choice of patterns you choose to stitch/design? If yes, how do you incorporate them? If no, would you or wouldn't you want to? Why or why not? Yeah, not really so much heritage, but like my geekness comes out, my love of fantasy is there, my love of color is there. So yeah, it's there. I just don't necessarily stitch windmills or Native American stuff. I'm just not called to that stuff. It's just not my style. I've seen some gorgeous pieces out of both of those. They're just not really me. Number 6, if you were to stitch a person who would it be? Maybe Johnny Depp as all his different characters? Because they're all pretty kooky, crazy characters with their own distinct looks. Like Captain Jack Sparrow and Willy Wonka and the Mad Hatter and Edward Scissorhands and Benny from Benny and June. So maybe him. I do want to get a picture of my son charted. It was from when he was a baby. Well, not a baby, he was a toddler. Just barely out of, well, he was still crawling and walking. He was in that stage where he does both, depending on what he wants to do. And we were on a walk in the woods. It was the fall, and he stood up and walked up this huge staircase. It was the first time he'd ever gone up the staircase like an adult or a big boy. Normally he kind of crawled up. But he stood up and one step at a time. And so I have a picture of that, and it's a really cute picture, and it's probably one of the best pictures I've ever taken. And so I want to get that one charted, and then I want to stitch it and put it on my wall. So my son. Do you know of a little-known designer that you would like to let us know about? Not really? I mean, most of the designers I can think of are already known, or talked about, or seen, so I don't think so. There might be. I don't know. What direction do you lay your top cross? Is there a reason for that? So I go bottom left to top right, and then bottom right to top left. So right to left is my top stitch. And there's not a reason. I think that's what the pictures in the kits show you to do. And I learned from kits. So that's how I stitched. Are there any rules or popular methods you don't follow in cross stitch? And why? I don't really think there are rules in cross stitch other than don't skip half a page. You know, like don't jump your stitches from this far to this far. You know, like just keep it within a little area. And that's also flexible depending on the type of piece you're doing. If you're doing a full coverage, you have more leeway versus an airy pattern, you have less. If you're stitching on Aida, you also have more leeway than if you're stitching on a thin, fine linen. So it really just depends on what you're stitching and what you want the finished outcome to be. Next question is, if someone were to find your FFO or whip pile in 100 years when you're long gone, what might they say or think about you? Does she ever finish anything? Does she, or does she just start stuff? Because I start a lot more than I finish. No, I don't know. Just do I ever finish anything? My mom used to get so mad at me when I was a kid because I didn't finish stuff. I do finish stuff now. It just takes a very long time with a lot of other things in between. I'm just scatterbrained like that, or ADD like that. I don't know. It's just the way I stitch. Okay, so enough of that. So, let's look at the work I've done this week. So I have one that my son gave me for my birthday. Well, my husband bought it, my son picked it out. 2 days later, he said, "Oh, I want that in my room, Mommy." So he got it for himself, which is fine. So on my husband's birthday, I pulled out this one. It's the Riola's Pots one that I've been working on. Let's get the picture so you can see the whole thing. It's that one. And I've been working down in here. I usually try to get the background done first, because the background is the least interesting part for me. So last time I had like this part of the background done. This time I worked on this. And there was a lot more done. But then I realized I made a big mistake and had to rip it all out and start it over again. So that's what I got. It's starting to take shape. You can see some of the leaves starting to pop out. And that's what I did for him. I don't know who made that needle minder. It was a freebie with a needle binder I bought a long time ago, before I even heard of Flosstube. So I don't know. The next one I've been working on is this one from the February. I should show you the picture here so you see. That one. The whole thing in the frame. That one. And last time, I just had some of the grass. I had the grass done, reviewed, and over through the air. This time I'm working on the drafts. There's mommy draft, and it comes down here, and there's the baby draft. The image is reversed for me, so I'm getting confused where it is. And then this needle minder is my little slime. Let's see. Little slime. That I got from the Trendy Little Geek. I've been working on this one a lot of the week. Well, not really, like 2 days. And I don't know if I'm going to work on it this week or if I'm going to switch out. It just depends on what I feel like, I guess. I'll decide when I wake up. Because I'm not sick of this one yet, but I'm not interested in it right now. I've been working on it. And then the one my son gave me for my birthday, it's a new start, so I decided to do that one last. It's this. Because, you know, fairies and like fantasy, I like it. His room is sort of outer space theme, and one of his favorite movies is the Kingdom movie. So obviously he gravitated towards the fairies. And I worked on this 2 days, and that's what I got done. A lot of the moon. You can see start of a fairy here, another one right in here. But you can't really tell what they are, they're just blank spots. That's what I got done on that one in a couple days. The Stitching Mommy, she came up with this thing where she's working on a pattern on kids' birthdays, and I figured I will do that. So my birthday and my son's birthday are both the second day of the month. So I figured since he wants this in his room, I'd work on this the second and third day of the month, because he was born in March, so that's a 3. And my husband was born the 6th day, so every 6th I'll pull this out. And then this one is just a focus piece, so I want to get it done because I need it done by September 14th or 17th or something like that. For his little niece. So I'll be pulling this one out at least every other week, so you'll see a lot of that one. And that's what I have for stitching for this week. I do want to thank Stitch Pixels, or Amanda. She gave me a wonderful shout out, and I really appreciate that. It's very sweet of you. I don't really have any shout outs planned myself for this week. I haven't been watching much Flosstube. I've been kind of really obsessed with the Leah Remini Scientology The Aftermath TV show. There's 2 seasons on Hulu, and I've just been watching that nonstop. It's like, must look at freaky cult people who are no longer cult people, so no longer freaky. It's actually really scary how easily they, like, take over these people's lives. And how much people are willing to pay for that. Oh my gosh. I don't even know. But that's just me. Somebody asked me, oh, you need $10,000 for this so that you can become a more spiritual person. And I'll go, what? No. I'm just gonna go over this way now. So, yeah, it's an interesting show. I think you should watch it. If you're a Scientologist, no offense, but some of those upper level people are kind of really freaky. That's just my opinion. And I think that's really all I have. I don't have any haul. I do have some coming, but it's not here. So I'll show you when it gets here. It could be a while. It's coming from overseas. So it could be this week, or it could be in 6. Depends on what Customs wants to do. Oh, I got a new earring for my birthday. No, I got 2 of them, but only one ear will hold it right now. I know it's not most people's style, but I love it. It's glass and it's teal. So that makes me happy. And that's really it. My friends and family, we don't really do birthday gifts all that much. It's more of, hey, let's spend time together, which I love. I'd rather spend time with people than have them spend their money on me, because time is more valuable. We only have so much. Anyway, night all.